Hi Aries, thank you for joining me and welcome to my channel. This is your reading for the North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. I talked a lot about your transits like I usually do in the collective reading because your sign, Aries, is the first of the zodiac, and so therefore when we use an example chart, usually it's yours. Because it coincides with our collective chart. So this is the chart that I was working off of. I'm still going to explain everything to you now, and then I'm going to do a dedicated reading. And for you, the information will be more tailored to you now that it's a dedicated reading. This reading is for Sun, Moon, and Rising Aries, Venus, Mars. You can do a North Node in Aries. Although I haven't been really talking about how the North Nodes will be impacted by the nodal transit. For Aries, it's really good. Just so you know, you're going into an increase in productivity, increase of just alignment. If your North Node is in Aries, then this current North Node aspect is signaling the first stage of a 3-part stage of alignment, or you can split that up into like a 4-part, 5-part stage, but it's really at that pinnacle point almost. So just know if your North Node is in Aries, that's a really good thing. It's when your life is going to pick up and get much better. But let's just talk about what the North Node is. If you're wondering about it technically, go to the end of the video and I'll do that click through to the main video in which I explain what it is. But for you, it has a lot to do with, in some way, doing a reset, going back to energies that coincide with your early childhood, going back to square one on things that you have progressed in, sort of being wiped out of the way, so that especially if those things are misaligned, if they're causing more harm than good, as this North Node has transited over your IC, which is that point of childhood, the early childhood education and so forth I talked about earlier in the other video. It also sort of clears out of your life a lot of things that may have been set up wrong or been happening in the wrong way. And you have this sense that you're kind of have gone back, that you have gone back to something else. Maybe it's not something specific, but you have a general sense that you're, starting back from something. Now the South Node is up here on the MC, and you can argue very similarly for that, in the sense that the MC has your outward manifestation of the effort you've put into your life during a lifetime. The South Node coinciding with the MC is a dispersal of energy of that, like releasing of energy, unraveling of the things that have happened to you or that you have done that are not in alignment with your best interest. And in some way, it's kind of a huge reset year for you to get you going in the next 3-year cycle of ascension. It's a very high velocity ascension now, so wherever you are in life, things are going to pick up and you're going to do better and better and better. And it's going to be not perfect, but it is going to be very focused on getting you from point A to the next stage. So I hope that you make it, and I hope that you enjoy the process, because it's definitely an exhilarating time in your life. It's a fast-paced time, and it's one to be happy about or hopeful for. So yeah, that's definitely it. So you have the North Node entering into your 3rd house of like early childhood, family, siblings, those kinds of energies and communication. Your focus is going to be like near your house, the cities surrounding you, things that are nearby, travel nearby. Solutions to your life's problems will be not that far away. They're actually going to be quite accessible. You may be very focused on writing at this time, all sorts of different communications. Your siblings, your relationship with your siblings might take a very precedent, a high stage or high importance in your life. You will be focused more on people who you're close with, family members, siblings, cousins, more so than the big picture, like where your career is at. But this transit is actually really good for career, so you do get a good dose of a good career transit over the next 6 months anyway. So yeah, the South Node in some way will reformulate your philosophy. Everybody has a personal philosophy, so the South Node in the 9th house will make you think differently about things. You may change political parties, you may change the way that you view the world. There's all sorts of different things that the South Node in the 9th house can make you think differently while it goes through it. And there will be reasons for this, so you will have experiences that will, in one way or another, teach you to be a different type of Aries. And that's true for Sun, Moon, and Rising. Now, let's talk about 3 sets of transits in 3 periods of time. The first one is the March transits. I just noticed the autofocus. Sorry, guys. It's really bright outside, and when it gets bright, then I have to turn off autofocus because it doesn't work anymore. Okay, the light messes it up. Anyway, okay, so 3 stages. Overall, the North Node and the South Node will be kind of by themselves, like you can see here in May 2020, and you can see this in the October 2020 for the North Node. That's going to be the general energy for the majority of this 1.5-year transit, except the Moon will visit each node once a month. And so when that time happens, you're going to have heightened activity. But overall, you're going to feel like things that you're working through, you're sort of further away from, or you don't feel as though you have that much energy to change or affect. So there will be a lot of like, I wish I could go do that. I know what I need to do, but sort of like trying to reach out, and yet that being sort of far away. But in May 2020 and May 2021, you will have a transit, an annual transit of the Sun and Mercury, and then also the inner planets in this case. In both years, Venus will be in Gemini at the same time, and here we have Vesta as well. She is an asteroid. And so all of these transits are transiting in your 3rd house, and they are going to give you extra momentum to get to the things that you want to do. If you want to write a letter during this time, it will be the best time to write whatever it is that you want to write. If you want to hang out with your cousin who you don't get to see so much, but you want to bring them more into your life, this is the time to bring them in. If you need to communicate with someone, something that's really important, May through August this year and May through June next year will be the time. You will also, right at the beginning of this transit in May, begin to notice that you will be experiencing situations that will, in one way or another, try to teach you another way of thinking about things. So if you have a preconceived notion about things, you might have an experience that disproves that, you know. So let's say that you have a belief about, you know, a certain type of people, and then you meet someone who's from that kind of person that you think about, and they sort of dispel your assumptions. They make you realize that you're thinking incorrectly or differently than the truth. So it's a really beautiful transit, actually, Sag in the 9th house, the South Node. It's really freeing because whenever you let go or you have new ideas to think about, it gives you new opportunities and more opportunities. The next transit is a little bit more serious. This happens in October. It's going to be starting in September with Mars retrograde in your 1st house. That's in some way kind of getting the opportunity to address something over again, address something about yourself over again, try with someone else on a new foot, try to work things out with someone else by showing a different side of your personality. So if you were sort of aggressive about something with someone before, maybe this is a time to speak quite gently and, you know, show a different side of yourself in a situation. So that's actually quite good. But Mars retrograde does actually bring into our life circumstances that are sort of left open. And because it's an Aries, that has a lot to do for all of us. It has a huge consequence. But for you as well, the consequence is that if you have circumstances or situations that haven't experienced closure, you may experience situations through this transit that cause you to that force you to have closure. So let's say that like you got in a fight with someone and you never worked it out. Mars retrograde may bring that situation back in, or another situation like it, so you learn the lesson, so you find closure, and you move on. Well, what happens with that? That takes time. Interacting with people, interacting with situations, it all takes time. And so that's the issue with the autumn transit of Mars. Ultimately, Mars will go direct and move towards Uranus. That's also going to create a bit of a difficult environment. Mars with Uranus is no joke. I remember back in 2017, we were talking about Uranus in Aries, and Mars was in Aries, and it was in the same position as an asteroid called ARIES. ARIES is at like 25 degrees of Aries right now. She has a very long transit. And so all those transits were together, and that caused quite a bit of violence in the world at the time. As they were all together in Aries, it did cause like an upsurge of unfortunate events going on around the world. So Mars entering into Taurus and ultimately forming a conjunction with Uranus, probably like in November, December, maybe even January, is going to feel very intense, and we need to chill out and make sure that we are not allowing us to get, held down by it. Now, the real problem isn't Mars. The real problem is Lilith here in Aries entering into Taurus. And when Lilith enters into Taurus, right, and creates a conjunction with Uranus, she has a way of causing confusion in circumstances, and for you especially, watch out for things concerning money. She may cause confusion with regard to situations, and at that same time, Uranus will begin forming a semi-square, that's half of a square, 45-degree angle to the North Node, and that will cause you in some way to have problems reasoning things out and finding solutions. So if there is a misunderstanding that erupts around money, and people are touchy with money, then there can be a very difficult situation for you to work out in October, November, December. What do you do with that? Well, you go back to May, you go back to June, July, and August, and you just make sure that all your matters concerning business, concerning things that you're responsible for, are taken care of in the summer. So when you're feeling all that extra energy right now, make sure that you use it for the future, like really kind of do it for the future. Have that medium term perspective. Don't think of immediate gratification. Think about like October, November, December. Get it out of your way. There's also eclipses happening in Gemini and in Sagittarius in the winter time. The Gemini eclipse happens on November 30th. And that will in some way push a matter forward. That's going to be very intense because, again, North Node and Uranus will be on a semi-square, and that can provide friction and also a limitation as to how to manage it. Because it's happening with your second house, there might be a problem with having enough money to deal with it. So make sure that your money is good going into the fall. Okay, or as best as you can manage, so no big spending into the fall, okay? The other thing at that time is that the South Node will have an eclipse as well on December 14th. That's something to look forward to. That's going to bring in something new, is going to bring in new hope, new opportunities, and this is going to feel like you're, removing something from your life, that you're having to rework something. In order to begin new things. But here you're going to receive with the new moon eclipse on December 14th some kind of new perspective, something new to look forward to, something good is coming in, and we'll do videos about that when we get there. And then we have the final set of transits happening next year in July, and that's a conjunction between North Node and Lilith, again entering now into Gemini. From July 25th until about the 5th of August, you're going to feel doubt about your circumstances, maybe even question people around you, siblings and so forth. I would really recommend that you use that week for introspection. Don't try to accuse anyone of anything. Don't get involved, because right after this conjunction happens, Ceres, the goddess of cereal, protective goddess, will move into Gemini and actually stay in Gemini for the rest of the North Node transit in Gemini. And so she will very much protect you. So it's almost like having two sisters. There's the bad one, Lilith, and the good one, Ceres. And Lilith is in town, and she's going to burn your house down, and you're feeling a way about it, and you're very nervous. Well, Ceres shows up not much longer, August 5th, and she will definitely help you in whatever circumstances. And that example for sisters isn't really true for like everyone. It's actually specific for you. So really understand that there is sibling energy around you, one good, one bad. And that can be surrogate siblings or cousins, you know, some kind of cohort energy around you. So in other words, there is this intense transit next year in Gemini, but it's going to be pretty good, and provided you don't get involved in anything between July 25th and August 5th, I think you're going to do okay. So those are the three ones that I would say watch out for. There's many more, but I just highlighted three that were particularly important to know about. So why don't we get into the tarot and take a look at what energies you're dealing with over the next year, okay? So your first messages, this is South Node messages, so we're talking about the 9th house, Sagittarius, and ideas. You've been holding your tongue on some situation for a very long time. I think that like your opinion has changed about some things already, and I feel like you have been really holding back from saying something. You don't agree with a view or politics of someone who you're connected with, and you're not confronting them on it. Then we have fertility. You found something beautiful to believe in over this time. I don't think that you necessarily see the same in the people around you, the same viewpoints as you did before, and you have new things that you're excited about through this time, through this transit. So there's other things that resonate for you more suddenly, and you're about to make a decision about that, and it's going to lead to a rapid change in lifestyle, rapid change in who you are. You're kind of definitely shifting your perspective about who you are, about what the world is, and that coincides with the people that you spend time with, the people that you know. Coincidentally, Saturn is in your 11th house of friendship, so that's going to be very much removing people that are outdated in your life and beginning things new. I definitely pick up on the fact that you're going to feel very excited about the path you're going on. You're going to feel excited about where you're going. You're going to feel excited about the people that you're going to know. You're going to feel excited about the new ideas, new concepts. It's like, you know, it's like hanging out with fishermen but being a vegan. And then like you've been a vegan for a while, so you're hanging out with all these fishermen, and it doesn't resonate anymore. But finally you sort of find your way, and you find like a vegan community to hang out with, and you start making decisions to spend time with the vegans instead of the people who eat fish. And we have trapped in fear. So you're going to struggle with it a little bit, because it's going to coincide with a little bit of guilt. So guilt about the fact, you know, like letting people down and feeling like responsibility towards them or camaraderie. Let's see the next message. We have the 9 of Pentacles. I think you found yourself in a very comfortable circumstance. This is a good time in your life when you have a significant amount of resources covered. I feel like you in some way are have enough of what you need, and now that you have what you need, you can really ask yourself the question, do I want more? Do I want, like, is there something that I want? You know how when you take a job because you don't really have anything else, so you just take the job that's offered, but it's not exactly what you want, and then you work for a while, and then you work up your, you know, wages or savings or whatever it is you're after, and then you go and seek out a better position. It's something like that. The next message is the Eight of Wands, accelerated motion. I think that you're very excited about the direction that you're going. I think the past is in the past. The way that you thought was in the past. Where you're going is like a bright new horizon. I really feel that the people of your past believe things that you don't really ascribe to anymore. And although you feel sympathetic towards them as people, you really don't agree with them anymore. And now you're excited about the future. Here is the next message. We have passion ignited. At some point, you are going to kind of break the levee on that. You are definitely going to move forward with excitement towards these new ideas, towards your new interests. I don't think you're going to be holding back anymore on that, which you have been. You have been holding back for quite a while. Keep, you know, biting your tongue, not saying what you feel. And that's because it wasn't the right time. You know, you had to get yourself in a more secure position, and now that you are in it, now you can basically shout it out. Victory and success, Six of Rods. You're going to get through the guilt feelings. I mean, I always tell people that it's better to be honest and hurt someone temporarily in the short term by telling them the truth than keeping them on the hook, believing that something will happen when it won't. It's a very, very cruel thing, and it's very selfish to do that to other people. So you're not the bad guy, you're not the bad girl, you know? So in some way, facing guilt about the issue is fair, but you're doing the right thing by being genuine or altruistic with yourself. So yeah, victory and success coming for you soon or guaranteed. And then we have the North Node transit in the 3rd house. Let's see, let me show you right there. So we're talking about this forward movement towards siblings, forward movement towards relationships with cousins, all those kinds of things. Let's see, we have the 7 of Wands, choose your battles. So very, very carefully, who do you say what to and why? I have a feeling that this biting of the tongue, it's like maybe you are at a job you don't really like and they say stupid things. That doesn't mean that you necessarily argue with them. You're really thinking about the long term. Let them have their say, and then when you move on, you'll feel your way about it. Then we have the 2 of Cups coming together. There's something bigger for you. Definitely a closeness between yourself and your siblings, between yourself and your cousins. Female siblings come around, like cousins. If you have surrogate siblings, then they really step up and bring positivity to you as well. Positivity in the way of support. Hey, I have a job for you. Why don't you come move over here? You know, some kind of positive energy. Then we have the heart shape chakra, the heart chakra. And so I really believe that in the next year, Aries, there will come a moment in which you're just like, I can't hold it anymore. I'm not the same person I was before. And it's time now for me to move forward with who I am and what's genuine to me. And then you have the beautiful Ace of Hearts. So, you know, very, very close and candid conversations with other people. This is the North Node. So where you're going is towards love, towards a heart-centered connection. I think that in some way you are waiting for the opportunity to begin your life with people that you have that heart-based connection with. And I think you've been around people who may even be nice, but it's not your tribe. It's not really the right fit for you, and now you are in some way seeking out this new beginning. And when you find this new beginning, it's going to make a lot of sense, and things are going to happen very, very quickly for you in the way of friendship, in the way of camaraderie, like this is my family, this is my tribe, this is where I need to be. Then we have the 5 of Pentacles, challenging times. It's like carefully choosing about when to say your piece, because you're still integrated with the other people and you're trying to decide when to say your piece and when it's better to just keep your mouth shut. The next message is the Sun, which is shine. And so I feel like there's very likely a very sweet connection between you and someone else over the next year and a half. It could be a relationship, but it can be that sibling relationship that is very, very strong, in which you support each other. Then we have the Star card. You're getting really good cards. Heal card. Okay, so healing the heart, moving forward. It's almost like a shooting star. Once it goes, you can't really take it back. It just happens very quickly. Very, very likely you will have that moment where something appears in your life and you will have no more waiting around, no more biting your tongue. You will just say, nope, this is it. Like too big of an opportunity, too big of a chance, too big and too exciting. And you're going to go for it. And then you have opportunity beckons, number 4 of cups. You sense, I feel like you're going to have an instinctual reaction to something by the end of the year. By the end of the year, you're going to see something or find something and then want to go after it really, really fast. Let's take a look at your personality cards. So this will tell us what aspects of your personality are emerging in the next year and a half. So first we have the adventurer. So I think you've probably seen something already in your experiences, and that's why the shoe doesn't fit anymore in those past situations. You've grown past something, you've learned something, and now you're going back to something. But while you're back there, you realize that you are the adventurer. You have all these things that you want to do that don't coincide with your old environment. It's really a call to action. Then we have the creative. I feel like somebody is very much reaching out. Someone's going outside of their comfort zone, reaching out. And it's someone who is a free thinker, somebody who in some way goes against the norm because they say, I want to do this. This makes a lot of sense. And then they try to make it happen or bring it in. Then we have the optimist. Okay, so maybe the person who, I just feel like you will have an experience that will be so clear about which way you need to go. All this doubt and all this waiting, once it happens, you will know, you will not question. It will be just very much a confirmation of this is my path. It's going to be very, very easy. Either it's going to be something you've always wanted to do, or it's going to be something that is an easy way to recognize, like, this is the right path for me. And then we have the nurturer. Okay, so you're being guided towards something that matters a lot. Remember this hang up that you're feeling about letting someone down? That's really sweet, but also I feel like when all is said and done, I think that you're moving into a position of nurturing someone who's around you. There's going to be that responsibility comes out of the desire to nurture and be there for others and so forth. But that's where you're essentially going, just in a better alignment for you. Something that is better aligned for you, something that is better aligned for your life. Maybe it's mutually reciprocal, because maybe the other person is nurturing you as well. So it looks like you're making some choices through the next year and a half. And maybe this is something to do about, like, you know, the way siblings interact in their youth, about how they sort of teach each other how to treat other people. I have a feeling that you're going to be in a much more giving situation. Just because it's siblings is platonic, right? Just siblings. I'm not saying anything else. But it is your blueprint for future experiences. And those future experiences are experiences of bringing forward that nurturing and caring side of you in a situation that is better aligned to what you need. Okay, less toxic, less whatever is not working, what maybe ideological differences, but where you're going is much more kind, much more in alignment with who you are. And remember what I said at the beginning about this nodal alignment. Now, if your sun, moon, rising Aries, it still kind of works. So as the node is creating different aspects in Gemini, it's going to trigger your aspects and evoke out of you a bit of a diversion, like time to go a different direction, Aries. Those things that you're kind of beating around the fence about, I think that those are going to get removed, and very clear cut and direct things will emerge. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.